Hey, good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday, y'all. Sorry it's coming down to the wire here. Had an appointment this morning, so it's running a little bit behind. But we're here, baby, right before the bell. Alright, y'all. So, just going to run through a couple things real quick. It is Thursday, right? It is free Thursday here, predicted trades. So to any of our free members here, if you haven't, please let me know if you guys want to try our Beast tool here for free today, and we'll add you to that chat and get you set up. Today's Thursday. We do have Apple earnings this afternoon, right? Apple, the biggest name on the market here. So something we got to pay attention to, something that the market could even chop around and wait for. So keep an eye on Apple here this morning. We have ourselves an opening tick of damn near positive 1500 here. A really solid open for a tick here. So as usual, looking for that initial test of 0, right? And the interaction we get when we get there. Or let's see if we just sustain here near positive 1000 and start to work our way higher here on the market. Pretty decent start here for our major indices, right? We are up here at about 40 points to the upside on ES. Up here at our destination sell zone, let's see if we can work our way through this 4300. Right, 4300, of course, a key psychological level here for the market. So, you know, up here near our destination sell zone, right, the highest zone on our Beast tool, wouldn't doubt that we have a little downside move here from this level, right? Doesn't mean it happens right now. You know, we could see a little trickle here, maybe a little chop before actually heading lower. But as usual here this morning, right, we're seeing some rotation. YM popping, NQ over here dropping a little bit. ES ultimately going to be parked here at this 4300 if we keep seeing this rotation. Ooh, getting up to this 4300 now here to the cent. And a little crack through it. So let's just keep an eye here on this interaction here with 4300. Right, as always, you guys always hear me say, just looking for a good level to put on risk. Right, we have so many studies, so many indicators, everything on here works really well, but just got to strip it down sometimes and just look for a nice horizontal line to play off of, right? We've got a solid one here with this 4300 on ES. We've also got the daily mean a little bit below here, down near VWAP. VWAP is these white triangles on my screen. So again, an easy target here to the downside. Wouldn't be surprised at all if after cracking up here through the daily mean, we come back or retest it, possibly before going higher. Right, again, ES up here, up today already about 47 points, coming up to about 50 points, right? A little pullback to the daily mean, wouldn't be that crazy to then go higher. Nice. All right. So tick coming down, testing this positive 1000. Let's see if we start to get a bounce here at this positive 1000 and maybe go higher here across the board. YM really driving us higher here, dragging ES a bit here above this 4300, but again, NQ just lagging here right at our destination sell zone provided by our Beast tool. Was crunching on time to get here to the desk, so wasn't able to throw down the contracts I wanted to watch here, but we can do that real quick. Going to be keeping an eye here on tomorrow's contract. So we'll just start with Qs here real quick, sitting at about 361. We'll jump over to QQQ. I want contracts for tomorrow. And I'm going to keep it simple here, right? Y'all know I like to keep an eye on these 5-point increments, right? These bigger psychological strikes. So I'm just going to play it up and down. This 365 call. Good distance between a current price action and beast, or even this buy zone. So let's see if we get a pullback first for these calls. And then for the put side, I'll start with this 360 put, but kind of close for tomorrow. Going to be pricey. Yep, at $1.60 here. Not too far off from beast though. Let's go maybe down just 5 more points. Ooh, a little bit under beast. Kind of liking how the puts are looking here for Qs. Let's go right in the middle here. 357, right at beast, and ooh, that open level right at beast. And I like this price point of about 70 cents. We'll keep a little eye on that right there. Jump over to SPY here. And going to do about the same setup here, right? We're at about 427 on SPY, about 428. I'm going to keep an eye on this 430 call, pretty far from beast. As you can see, my beast zone right here. Current price action. Throw this baby down. And just like Qs, we'll go down to this 425 put. Might be pricey, but we'll see. Here at about $1. Okay. But getting close down here to our beast zone and open range buy zone. So let's see here if SPY can, go a little bit higher here and bring these puts down to our buy zone, right? Q puts are already in our buy zone. So let's see if YM can help get SPY puts down to its buy zone. And then we get a little downside move from there. I kind of like this setup right here. Tick starting to creep here a little bit lower. Only been about 7 minutes here, y'all. Right, still early in the session. Don't gotta get too crazy yet. But I do like how these Q puts are looking here on this 357 put. So just going to keep an eye on this right here. And again, I'm still looking for an initial test of 0 here on tick, right? So if we get some downside on tick, we're going to get some downside on the market. But again, we could just hold up here near this positive 1000 and then go higher. ADD getting up to our open range sell zone. Let's see if they maybe pull back ADD here. And again, some downside in ADD would give us some downside in the market. I think I might take a little shot here on these QQQ puts. Let's see how high we go here on all 3 of our indices. And again, I'm just going to be playing probabilities here, right? We're up here at our destination sell zone on all 3 of our major indices. Right, we're creeping higher, but nothing too crazy. We're at a key psychological level here for ES, right? And we're up 50 points already on ES. And again, all those things, it's not to say that we can't just keep cranking higher here, right? But we have a little bit more resistance here to the upside, right? Overall, the better trade here, better risk reward is to the downside. But again, we trade options here, so timing is everything, right? So So just got to be patient here, and that's why I've really been preaching as well to play the next day expiration, right? You're going to have a little bit more wiggle room. You're going to have a little bit more of a chance to be wrong before being correct. Especially playing a reversal, right? I know that many of us have this problem, and I do as well still to this day, frequently make this mistake of getting in too early, right? But overall, we could slowly curl over here and our options take a beating before we actually get the move that we're trying to play. So just got to be careful here. Coming up to this pre-market high here on NQ, right? A nice level for a rejection. I think I'm going to take a little shot on here on this 357 put. A little bit early, but let's give it a shot here at about 60 cents. Oh, running away from me. Let's try to jump in here real quick. There we go. All right, so I'm in just one contract here of the 357 put for tomorrow on QQQ. I'm buying it at our buy zone, right? A little bit below our open level. You always hear me stress these zones and this open level a lot, right? So we're pretty close to it here, just hoping we reclaim it. And QQQ here rejecting our open range sell zone, right? And 362 has been a significant level for us here on QQQ. Is usually lining up here with about 15,000 on NQ, and we're pretty close to it. But again, it's just something to keep an eye on, right? We are close to a key psychological level on NQ. We could pop through here and test that 15,000, right? And so again, that's why I'm just in one contract so far. Just keeping my exposure small in case we do rip higher, right? I'm not going to be too upset. I can always add more. And then as always, per our system, right, no matter what side we're playing, we're always looking at the other side. So again, I have these calls here, some bigger psychological strikes as well. And both the SPY 430 call and the QQQ 365 call are both up here at our open range sell zone provided by our Beast tool. So again, I'm just expecting a rejection at our open range sell zone on the options contracts and a rejection at the open range sell zone on the equity itself here on QQQ. And so these are the horizontal lines I'm always talking about, right? I'm always looking for a good level to put on risk, right? One nice horizontal line, but even better when I have one horizontal line, two horizontal lines, three, right? Four, I'm trying to bounce this one. 5 here on ES with this key psychological level of 4,300. This teal dash line right here is my weekly 8 exponential moving average. Oh, and we've got the dollar down here at our destination buy zone. Oh, let's go. Let's see. Right, dollar popping usually results in downside in the market, typically. And here we go, getting that rotation back, right? A nice little spill here by YM coming all the way back down near this low of day. But NQ holding up, right? The SPY puts maybe looking a little bit better right here than the Q puts. But that's rotation for you, right? Rotation is tough here to gauge who is going to do what, and ultimately maybe ES just goes nowhere, right? We are coming back here to this 4,300 and peaking under. But you got to be careful here, right? Tick is now getting down to 0. We're going to get this initial interaction, right? Could be a bounce. Maybe whole market climbs from here, right? We could bounce here at 0 on tick, bounce here at 4,300 on ES. We could reject this open level right here from VIX. taking the market higher. Just something I'm keeping an eye on here as I'm in puts, right, in case I need to bail out here. But we're still just sitting right at my entry, right? The longer we sit here, the more interested I'm going to be in getting that second one, right? If you guys trade with me frequently here on YouTube, y'all know I'm always looking to have at least 2 contracts on me, right? I want to use one contract to pay for the second one. All right, and before this thing maybe takes off, I'm going to jump into a second one here, if it lets me. Okay, I'm in 2 now, at an average of 66 cents. So what is my game plan here, right? I'm buying here at my zone near this open level, right? And I have 2 contracts. I want to use one contract to defend my second contract. Right, so I'm in here at about 66 cents. You know, obviously, ideally, what I would like is a double so that I can totally pay for that second contract, right? But that's not always, you know, super easy to come by, especially when we're getting rotation and everything moves kind of slowly. But ultimately, I'm going to try to hold here until about $1, right? $1 is a key psychological level on any option chart. So really, you know, if I can get up here to around $1 and trim that first one, right, I've covered more than half of my second contract. So then I can, with less stress, try to be riskier with that second contract and let it go higher. Now, if we do have a good spill here, right, I got no levels here in between this open level and our open range sell zone at about $1.05 here. I'm going to try to push for both these contracts to get up here to about this $1.05. See if it can run freely through this dollar and go higher, right? But ultimately, if I do get up to this dollar, maybe crack through it, I'm going to, you know, do my best here to not let it come back and trim near this buck, right? Need to use contracts to defend other contracts. But let's see, if we spill a low of day here, maybe we get us a nice little move to the downside, right? And we're up to about 76 cents here. So let's go. Let's see what we can pull out of this baby. And still getting some rotation, right? YM popping as NQ is now coming down. So again, this is going to make it a little bit tougher to get all of that premium that I want out of that contract, right? So I'm going to be not so greedy, right? If I do get to that $1, you know, I'm going to probably trim at this $1, right? I'm going to let it go through and wait to have a reason to sell, but that reason to sell will be a pullback and retesting that dollar. If that even happens, right? Obviously, we're bouncing here on Qs. We're still getting some rotation, so just got to let this play out and see if it even happens. And again, just a little reminder here for anyone that might be new to us here. You can join our Discord for free here via the link in the description of this video. And again, every Thursday here, we do a free Thursday, and you can test drive our Beast tool here for free today. Just make yourself known in the live trading channel, and we will get you set up. And again, here's our Discord. Here's the live trading channel that we're in on Thursdays. If you are a free member, you have access to this right here, and you can jump on in, talk to us, let us know, trade along with us. But if you want to test drive our tool, and we'll get you set up. need to take a phone call real quick, y'all, so I'm going to mute myself here for a minute. All right, I'll be right back, y'all. Just going to take a quick phone call. All right, y'all. Sorry, I'm back. So we're getting this bounce here on tick here at 0, right? So we're getting that initial interaction at 0, getting a solid little bounce here. So let's start to see if we can push higher, right? Ultimately here now, if we're to get some upside, right, we need to crack through these high of days here that we've printed right at the open. But again, going to be tough here if we keep getting rotation, right? NQ is popping here a little bit, but not as much as YM, right? Even still trying to pull back some. And not really letting ES go higher, right? You know, we've been talking about this a lot, right? Every single morning, we're talking about rotation. We're talking about rotation. You know, so if rotation is still not something that is super clear to you, we do have, you know, as soon as you join our Discord, if you come down here to the education section, do have a lot of resources here immediately available to you if you are a newer trader. But I do talk about, you know, rotation in these channels here. I believe it's here in this internals channel. We talk about this with this video right here. I got a lot of videos in here to make it easy for you guys. If you're a newer trader, I would definitely recommend checking that out. Getting a little wacky here too. Look at this pop here in VIX. VIX up to high of day and then coming right back down to low of day. Very, very interesting here as we still get some rotation. So again, right, we have Apple earnings this afternoon. Apple is the biggest name here on the market. So not really surprised. And I won't be surprised if throughout the day we just get a lot of chop, a lot of back and forth as they wait for Apple to drop its earnings. Another look at ADD here, another one of our internals, right up to our open range sell zone here provided by our Beast tool. A rejection right at it to the cent, and again coming up here and feeling some resistance to the cent at our open range sell zone. So again, market looking like it wants to go higher here, but definitely having some trouble. Let's see how we're doing here. Still just a little bit green on these puts, nothing too crazy. But still just waiting for this move to happen, right? And again, we've been getting a lot of rotation at the opens, right? And this is why I really enjoy playing the next day's contracts, right? These same day contracts, though they are more volatile and will get a nice move in your direction, right? The move against you is also very painful. Ooh, cracking a little bit higher here on ADD. But again, not really seeing any real movement here from our major indices. We got some good moves happening here on some individual names from some of our members. Watch, of course, here, always rocking a nice one. Taking Lily here, 18 from 5-5. Let's go. What an effing day for real. And Carol here, 600%. Small contract, but let's go. 9 to 5-5. Hey, right? Anyone can afford this right here. Let's go. That's a trade, baby. That's a trade. And so just taking a peek here at my position again. I do like what I'm seeing here though, right? Always looking for my horizontal lines to help me out to stay in a trade or to get out of a trade. So overall, still holding here just right at my entry. Still in our beast zone, right? This is our primary buying zone from our beast tool. And near this open level, right? Y'all know I'm always stressing this open level on options contracts. Shit, I mean really on any chart, but really on these options contracts. And I'm in puts, right? So overall here on QQQ itself, I do like to see Qs here struggling with its open level, right? I want to see this put get above its open level. I want to see the equity remain below its open level. Right, and then look into the calls over here. I want this 365 call to remain under its open level. So again, you know, just always trying to keep it simple here, looking for my lines in the sand, right? My great levels for putting on some risk. And I'm just keeping it simple around those levels. Right, if we start to revisit the top of this open range zone here, right, this open range sell zone, or crack above this 362, I'm going to start to think about bailing out of my put here. Right, if we lose our beast zone here under this 56 cents, I'm going to start to worry about bailing out of this position. And I just try to do that with as many charts as I can that are involved here, right? Same with like my internals. But again, as we get some rotation, right, just have to kind of allow a little bit more slack here in these lines. Because when we get rotation, they're ultimately just waiting, right? A move is coming, but they're just kind of waiting. Trying to mess up as much retail as possible, especially in these opening 30 minutes, right? We say it all the time, the opening 30 minutes is a retail slaughterhouse. So many newer traders show up with their small accounts, but they're ready to rock. And they get sucked in the first 30 minutes, and we ultimately go nowhere. So it always pays to be patient, right? If you take your shot early, keep the position size small, right? I'm only in 2 contracts here, right? My max risk here is $132. I'm not going to break the bank here if these go to 0. Again, another little peak here above this open level on QQQ, but smacked back down. Right, it's okay if we crack it, but I just want to keep seeing this interaction here. Right, I want to keep seeing the resistance come from this open level. It's going to keep me in my put here. Little rejection here in Qs. Let's go. Bringing us back above 70 cents here, right? You know, just a couple cents here, but we're staying in the game, right? As long as we're still green here, not stressing this. Just gotta let some time pass and we'll get a move, right? Ultimately, our major horizontal line we're keeping an eye on here is this 4,300 for ES. And again, I'm in a position a little earlier than what you guys are used to, right? I would typically say, let's get a leg away from this 4,300 in either direction, right? A retest of the 4,300, and then we'll get in for the continuation. But overall, I liked everything else I was kind of seeing to, you know, take an early shot, right? And again, I have no idea if these puts work. But I'm just playing probabilities here. We're up here at a key psych level. We've been working our way up to it. We're at our destination sell zones on our beast tool. And I like the risk reward to the downside better than upside. But that doesn't mean that we don't just rip upside and have a 100-point day to the upside. Right? We do see that from time to time. And we've gotten a lot of downside here in the past couple weeks, right? So there really is no local ceiling here for us to say, oh, we can't go higher, right? Or if we've gone too high today. We have plenty of room to the upside. We just cracked through the daily mean. You know, so I'm staying hyper aware of all these things as well. But again, as we continue to consolidate here, right near these opens at this 4,300, you know, the confidence in either direction starts to diminish, right? At this point, we're just taking a shot in either direction. You know, you could totally play some calls here and ultimately be correct about it. So again, you know, I'm just playing probabilities. and I'm just taking my shot. And as always, right, I say it all the time, you know, can't really ask for much more than that. I just need a solid horizontal line to play at, and we take our shot there and just wait for it to unfold. Because ultimately here, right, NQ has gone nowhere, ES has gone nowhere, YM a couple decent legs, but really hasn't gone anywhere. VIX even just chopping it back and forth here above 16. Did just put in a fresh low, but ultimately not really going anywhere here just yet. But Tick doing a good job here to stay mostly positive, right? Still kind of fading into the zero. We could, of course, see a crack negative here, which I would love for my puts. But again, I'm just staying hyper aware of all of my variables, right? Especially the variables working against me. Like Tick staying positive, right? Like ADD cracking a new high of day. But again, even ADD itself, right? I think, you know, typically the highs on ADD are like 2,500 or 2,600 or so. So again, I just like the risk reward better to the downside. And so we're starting to get a little bit of a curl here from ES, right? Getting it from YM as well. If we continue rotation here, right, we could see YM drop and Qs here and Q pop a little bit, right? I don't like that for my puts, but let's see if we maybe get that team rollover here that I'm looking for, right? I want all three to drop here together. We might just get it here. Starting to crack under zero on Tick, low of day on Tick. Want to see ADD reject the zone right here. And let's go. Starting to spill here over a little bit. Q's to low of day, and we're starting to crack that open level here to the upside. Let's go. And down to this open range buy zone on QQQ, right? Calls also getting to their open range buy zone. SPY calls here getting to this open level. And so again, got to pay attention here for the bounce, right? If we're going to keep getting rotation, very likely we get a bounce here. But again, I want to see a team spill here, right? I want to see ES come down and hit VWAP, hit this daily mean. I would love to see ES come down and hit this daily mean. But some things we got to keep an eye out, right? Like VIX not really popping here with this little bit of downside we're getting. I want to see VIX rip here to the upside to give us some good downside on the market. So again, just little things that I'm keeping an eye on to see if this is an actual short here or if we're just going to keep getting rotation. But we're spilling here a little bit. I'm liking it. I'm liking it. I want to see these internals play along a little bit more. Up to about 85 cents here now on this put for tomorrow. Right, up 33 bucks here on a $120 position. Not bad. Oh, here we go, baby. Cracking under this open range buy zone. And we're getting up near this buck, right? Remember my plan here. I've got 2 contracts. I want to use 1 contract to defend the second contract, right? So ultimately what I would like is like a $1.20 or a $1.30 to fully pay for my second contract, but I'll take something near a buck, right? That's going to pay for most of my second contract. And then I can hold that second contract for longer with less stress. So let's see here, let's see. Q's cracking, or NQ at least, cracking under VWAP here. We are at last week's high. So a significant level here. So I would really love to see a crack here under this high from last week, right? That should really allow us to go a little bit deeper here. You know, this being the high from last week, right? That means at some point last week, sellers said we will have no more upside right at this point, right? So let's see if we can crack under this level and possibly those sellers step in and give us a nice boost to the downside. Gonna just take a look here at the 360 put for today. Just always curious how today's contracts are going, especially for you D-gens out here. I know some of y'all are playing these same day contracts. And getting from about that 60 cents low up to about a buck beast and open here at about 80 cents to a buck. So not bad, some good moves here as well. But again, you know, I've just been really enjoying playing these contracts for the next day, because they just allow you a little bit more wiggle room, right? They're just a little bit less stressful to play, but they still have great gains, right? I'm up here from 66 cents up to about 92 cents, right? A couple more cents here, and I'm at a 50% gain. So I'm very satisfied with these contracts that expire tomorrow. And let's go. Starting to crack under this high from last week. A little bounce here to hold up. But I'm liking the look here. I'm liking the look. What I don't like is VIX here not bouncing. But I think if VIX does eventually get a nice bounce here, we should continue to throttle to the downside. Tick putting in a nice little low of day. A little bounce to get back above 0. But overall still in this downtrend, right? Let's see if we can keep this up. And again, I'm not going to be super greedy with this first contract, right? I want to use this first contract to defend that second contract. I would like to get over $1. And again, since I have it for tomorrow, right, I can eat a little bit of a bounce here, right? A little drawback, no problem. Maybe retest this open level and then go higher, right? I'm totally okay with that. But again, keeping an eye on these calls as well, right? These calls help us gauge, you know, where our move could end, right? So I'm looking for this downside move, but I'm looking to calls to see where they might bounce, right? And right now we've got this 365 call for tomorrow on QQQ, trying to bounce here at our open range buy zone and at a key psych level of about 50 cents. So again, could see a bounce here. Same situation here with this 430 call for tomorrow. Holding up right at this open level, right? We could see a bounce here. Wouldn't be surprised at all if we got the bounce there. And at some significant levels here on our futures as well, right? ES now bouncing our destination sell zone. And also this 5-minute 21. And Cube trying to bounce at this high from last week, right? A little crack under it, but we're still here right at it. And we got VWAP to work with here as well on NQ. And then Tick, of course, right? Tick trying to hold up at the 0, trying to stay positive. Want to see this crack back under 0 and continue to pull us down. But nice little bounce here for ES, trying to get back above 4,300. YM really leading the bounce here. NQ taking a little bounce as well. But for right now, getting the move in our favor, right? We are bouncing here a little bit on ES and YM, but we are now in an overall downtrend. YM doing a decent job of holding up, right? YM kind of just starting to put in a little bit of a wedge now. But overall, at least for Qs right now, we kind of have the wind in our sails here in this downtrend. But again, it's still early, right? It's been about 50 minutes here since the open. Could get a change in trend still, no problem, right? I'm still hyper aware of the things working against me, right? Can't tunnel vision here. Can't just be giddy because I'm getting the direction that I want. Because overall, it's still looking tough out here, right? YM cracking a little bit higher here, actually. VIX putting in a low of day. Don't want that for some puts. Right, and Tick trying to bounce here at 0. So even though my puts are working here a bit, still not feeling super confident in them. But let's see, right? We're getting the bounce here right where we expected it. Let's see if they smack it back down and we continue in our direction. So just gotta wait here, y'all. Just gotta wait. Let's see if we start to reject right here, maybe from this little bit of a trend line from these highs on ES. Oh, but VIX going lower here. Definitely keeping an eye on VIX here. I don't love this. Not really cranking higher here, so not sure what they're buying. And Q popping a little bit higher here. Coming back down to our open level here on this 357 put. Again though, still green, right? Still a little green. Not stressing it too hard. Let's see if we come up and reject VWAP here. And again, right, we could be buying the dip here to rip higher. Very much hyper aware of this, right? VIX is still dropping here to the 16. So I don't love my internals here. Honestly, if you're not in a position right now, I would recommend just waiting, right? I'm going to keep managing my puts here. They're still okay, but I don't love the position. And I don't love what I'm seeing. So again, just gotta be patient here. Let this unfold. We have our lines in the sand, right? So I'm just gonna hold until I have a reason to sell. And we're rejecting here at this 5-minute 21 on NQ, so I like that. Maybe we'll see a bounce here on VIX at this 16. 16, a big level here for VIX. And I gotta make another quick phone call, y'all. I'll be right back. Oh, sorry about that. Alright, y'all, so still just chopping it up right here. Still just chopping it up. Again, we have Apple earnings this afternoon, so I'm not surprised to see this kind of price action right now, as they maybe wait for this event, right? It doesn't mean we'll be sideways here all day, but this is just what they do to limit the amount of moves they make throughout the day. And again, as we just kind of consolidate here, especially here at this 4,300, right? No one can really tell you which way we go from here, from this 4,300. Right? And the longer we chop here, the more unclear it becomes, right? But again, we're just gonna play off a simple horizontal line. We keep crossing through it, right? But ultimately, yes, I'm in puts here, but going to be interested in calls here if we start to make a serious move away from this 4,300 to the upside, right? Or if to the downside, we'll just keep playing these puts. And Q popping here a bit, but again, just nothing too crazy, right? No crazy follow through. Ooh, but VIX down to 16 right here. A little crack under it. Let's see if VIX starts to maybe bounce here. Right, tick ultimately not really bouncing that hard. ADD still pretty sideways here. Let's see. Back down to my entry here on these puts. And up to this open level on Qs. Right, again, small position, right? I'm not going to stress this here. Just going to give this some time to keep working. Again, we're back up here to this open level. Could easily reject here, could easily reject at this 362. But let's see, right? As we start to crack these things and crack under my zone, I'm going to bail out, right? I can always re-enter this later. But let's see what we get here. Oof, and a high of day for ES. Right, and again, I'm not going to be upset if I'm ultimately wrong here, right? We chopped here for a while, It was by no means obvious which way this was going to break. Could have just as easily been to the downside. Could still just as easily be to the downside. All right, we're getting a nice little pop here, but not a crazy follow through. Internals aren't exactly screaming upside, except maybe VIX. The dollar is still popping here. And again, this is why I'm playing this strike for tomorrow, right? Started to get the move in our direction, going against us a little bit, but still only a couple cents red here on this contract, right? And if we do get this move back down, this is going to easily recover back up here to this buck or so. So I'm keeping my stress down, right? And again, you know, just looking at other things here in play. This 425 put a key psychological strike here for SPY for tomorrow down to our B zone, right? We've got our B zone stacking here with our open range buy zone. So this could be a good zone of support. But again, I'm going to continue to be hyper aware about my exit here, right? Because still here, ES giving a nice upside look, YM going higher, right? YM is kind of what's ruining my Q puts here. But we're still getting some rotation, right? Q's trying to reject here while YM is punching a high of day. So again, they're not making it easy here, right? This is what waiting looks like for big money. They still move money around, right? But ultimately, keeping ES here just kind of stuck. But again, leading into the open of this session, right, we were already up about 40 or 50 points. So overall, big money has made a decent move even before the bell. A little bounce back up to my entry here. So again, kind of tough here, right? We've seen a lot of rotation here in the mornings, you know, making these indice trades kind of tough. But ultimately, this is a good place to learn a lot of discipline, especially as a newer trader, right? And just being patient and just letting trades unfold and just really identifying where your lines in the sand are at, right? And respecting those lines. So let's see, you know, starting to pull back here a little bit on all the indices. Again, would love to see a nice team roll over here. But popping here a little bit on ADD, popping a little bit on tick, right, and still dropping here on VIX. But again, we've seen some wacky internals with price action this morning. So all of this just making it a tough day trading environment, right? Again, if you are not in a trade now, I would totally recommend waiting, right? Just wait. Because for sure, some more clear trades will come later. YM just cranking higher here by itself. Dragon ES a little bit. But hey, overall, at least I'm feeling good about being in the puts where they're lagging here a little bit. And as the session goes on, right, and we've had decent rotation throughout the morning, you know, I expect less rotation as the session goes on, right? I'm expecting them to eventually make a team move here. And even within the rotation, ultimately dragging all of our indices kind of to the upside, right? A nice team move could be coming right back down. Popping a little bit higher here on Qs, still in our beast zone though here on this 357 put. So again, just not too stressed here, not losing too much premium. Gonna wait until we at least crack under this zone. Right, and again, I'm just down a couple cents here. Right, 17 bucks, not too stressed just yet. Let's see how we do at this 362 level on QQQ. We're popping a little bit higher here on Qs. Let's see how we do with this 362. Getting to the bottom of our zone here, but getting to 362. Let's see how this interaction on both unfolds. And like I've been saying, right, will not be surprised at all, right, if I have to bail out of this, if this cracks higher. Right, no idea what was going to come out of this consolidation, right? Could have just as easily been a rollover right here, and dinner was paid for. But still early in the session, right? I got these contracts for tomorrow for this exact reason. So still just going to give this a little bit of time right here. Cracking a little bit through this 362. And again, right, if I do ultimately bail out of this, I can always re-enter later, right? If this comes right back down, rejects this high of day, I can jump right back into this later. But as of right now, we're really close to that high of day, so I'm going to give it this little bit of space. See how we do. And bail out if need be. But this is why I like keeping my position small, especially at the open, right? Because we just do see a lot of volatility, we see a lot of rotation, we see a lot of head fakes, right? If you keep a small position at the open, you're gonna have less stress to start the day, right? And I talk about this all the time, right? We all have a limited gas tank here for our entire day, right? That means for trading, that means for talking to the people in our lives every day, your significant other, your kids, whoever it might be. And we unfortunately spend a good amount of our gas tank here first thing in the morning, right? So this is just one of my ways to limit how much gas here I'm exerting on the market first thing in the morning. And getting a nice little rejection here at our open range sell zone so far. Right, again, this 362, a tough level for NQ. And like I was saying this morning, that 362 typically lines up here with this 15,000, a couple points away from it still. But again, like I said this morning, would not be surprised if NQ hits this key psychological level of 15,000. But overall, still liking that we're under this pre-market high here and the high of day in the session. Even if ES and YM are running away to the upside here, it's still not a crazy whole market move. But these calls did make the move here, right, that we were talking about, right? I was saying, keeping an eye on this open level, keeping an eye on this open range buy zone. Nice little move here from this 430 call, going 75 cents to almost a double here at 1.3. And I know definitely a strategy we talk about all the time is having both sides and paying for both sides as we go, especially in rotation, but just trying to keep it a little bit more simple here for y'all this morning. Just taking a shot on one side. And again, just a reminder that we have Apple earnings this afternoon after the bell, right? Apple, the biggest name here on the market, will likely be a significant drop here, or a significant data drop, right? Come close, which could result in a wild day tomorrow. So we'll see. So still just waiting here, y'all. Again, nice move from the calls, but ultimately our puts here still holding our B zones. So again, not too stressed here, just gotta wait. And if we do get a rollover, hopefully it is a little bit nicer this time and we do crank over this buck, right? Even, having sold, or I should have sold that second one even just near this buck, up near this 94 cents, right? Could have picked up another one here cheaper than my original. Right, and that's ultimately the strategy that we try to have play out here. Always holding at least one contract through the whole trade, but coming up, trimming one, coming back down, picking up another, going back up, trimming. Let's see if we start to get this pullback here. And to any of our paid members, just a reminder that when we are up here on the futures indices, working with this destination sell zone, right, on our beast tool, and then we're kind of just flying naked above, you know, always refer, especially when there's a gap up or a gap down, right, refer to SPY and QQQ. As you can see, we still have a little bit to go before that destination sell zone. Definitely on NQ, plenty to go before that destination sell zone. But overall, liking this little hold here we're having just before high of day on Qs, right? Just below our open range sell zone. And this key level of 362. So again, we start to crack above high of day here and go higher, and then yup, I will bail out on these puts, but I don't mind where we're at right here. Let's see if we get that roll. Right, and the more we continue to stall up here, right, the better I feel about this coming back for us. A little punch of high a day. But again, we could just see this slowly curl over here. And again, I can't stress this enough of why I like to now play the next day expiration, right? Just get a little bit more room to be wrong, right? I was right here for a little bit, ended up being wrong for a little bit, right? Came back against me. But if I end up being correct here again and we go even lower, right, I was able to stay in this trade and not be too stressed about it. You know, let's look over to, again, this like 360 put for today. Right, this is pain here. You know, we were saying, oh, maybe you got in here at beast bottom, maybe 70 cents, maybe 65 cents. 65 cents would have been quite the knife catch. So let's call it 75 cents. Maybe you got in right at this open level. Got up to that buck and some change. right? But then faded all the way back down to 30 cents, you know, and if this does roll back over, this recovery is going to be tough. Let's head back over to our contract since we just punched a high of day. And again, you know, even though I am losing premium here, you know, it's not as bad as that contract for today. I'll take one last look here around the board before I bail out of here, right? Still seeing tiny bit of rotation as this pops and as this tries to stall. But again, I can always re-enter, right? Gonna give this one more minute here to see if we truly stay above this previous high of day. But then I will tap out here. Alright, and popping a little higher, so like I said, right, we can always re-enter, no problem. Just gonna get out of these two babies here as this cranks. And again, I limited my downside, right? I ultimately didn't win this trade, right? I was correct initially. Should have probably trimmed one up here as I was trying to, right? And I would still be green on the position, right? That's ultimately the strategy. But again, playing tomorrow's contracts, I was able to limit my downside, took a little cut, and that is okay. And again, I'm not upset that that happened, right? I'm not upset that I was wrong. I talked about it and was hyper aware the entire time that the internals were not all agreeing with each other, right? That we were seeing rotation around the board. You know, this makes for a difficult trading environment. Calls did work out here quite nicely. Right, and again, per our system, right, I didn't do this here this morning, but per our system, you know, it is very easy for us to be green on both sides. You know, we do that constantly. So for example, this 430 call right here would have been a great pickup on the retest of this open level, right? Held and then went from there. And again, you know, that's why I stress so much while I'm in a position, right, that I know that just as easily the other side can work, especially when we get in on some consolidation, right? And if you guys trade with me frequently, you hear me say that all the time when I'm in a position, right? Yes, I'm in on one side, but I totally know that the other side can be the correct side, right? And that's just trading, though. That's just trading. You take a shot at a significant level and just wait for it to work out or not work out. But you can't really ask for much more than that. And even still, I would not be surprised at all if this just rockets right back up. You know, we roll over. Easy possibility. But for now, nice team move here to the upside. And let's wait and see, right? Upside positions here are obviously tough. I would not chase this here to the upside now. We are also up 64 points on ES. And just a reminder here that ES's ATR is 62 and some change, right? So we are already through 1 day worth of work here for ES. So again, just a tough place to put on some upside trades. But like we said this morning, right? Even though I was saying the same thing down here, right? I was also saying we've had a lot of downside over the last couple weeks. We could have a 100-point day to the upside, no problem. But again, tough to know and tough to gauge, right? Especially when we open so far up on something like ES, right, or our major indices in general, and then we start to trickle lower, right, as we open. You know, that rip to the upside is not an easy one to gauge. But again, we were talking about it at those levels, right? This is a great place to bounce on these calls, and sure enough, it happened, right? And again, I'm just trying to focus on small accounts here with you guys, but if you can afford it, right, for sure, you know, you can start playing both sides here with our Beast tool at our significant zones. Starting to see VIX pop here a little bit. ADD working its way back up to high of day here. A very slow grind higher. Definitely can still feel this rug pull possibly looming to bring us back down. But overall, right, don't want to stand in the way of a freight train. You know, right now we're cranking to the upside. Right, once we start to actually roll over, we can jump back into those puts. And then again, right, we get back down to a significant level, maybe this 4,300, maybe this 5-minute 21 right here. And you can start to jump back into some calls to possibly go higher. You know, it is at those points on those pullbacks that are great entries for both directions. A follow through to the downside, those puts are going to crank, or a bounce there, those calls are going to crank. But always looking to enter at those points, right? What I'm stressing here is where you're entering. And typically, right, if we were to, for example, pull back here on ES and come back to meet this 5-minute 21, very likely, right, at the same time, the calls are going to come back and reach a significant level on their chart, right? If we pull back to this open level here, right, or on SPY, pull back to this 5-minute 21 like I was talking about, you know, likely these calls come back to one of our zones, right? This open level maybe. Same with Qs here. You know, QQQ pulls back to this open level. This 365 call could pull back to this open range buy zone. And that's where I'm looking for entries, right? I want to see us at a key level on equity and at a key level on the option chart. The combination of the two makes a great entry. Just looking for those horizontal lines as always. Starting to get a little bit of a pullback here. These puts coming back up a little bit above these 50-cent mark. And again, would not be surprised at all if, boom, we get it right here. Especially as we slow down at these peaks, right? Could still get this slow drip higher, as YM is attempting to right here. And we're still getting rotation, right? This is the annoying part. This continues to make a tough trading environment, especially for day traders. Alright, y'all, I'm going to wrap up my session here. I've got a couple midday errands to run. Again, it is Free Thursday, so to any free members here, again, you can join our Discord via the link in the description of this video. Again, you know, we immediately provide a ton of resources as soon as you join our server. You know, if you are a newer trader, tons of good information, YouTube videos, you know, explanations of a lot of the tools that we use here on the market, some good explanations on how to read all these internals, right, to kind of gauge where the market is going. Definitely highly recommend it if you are a newer trader to check us out. And of course, every Thursday we do a free day here providing our Beast tool to you guys for free. So stick around here and join us on Thursdays especially, right, and try out our tool here. And you can see this tool, right, this chart here, for example, the only thing I have on this chart, well, besides VWAP, is our Beast tool, right? All these levels here are generated at the open by our Beast tool. But alright, y'all, I will be back on tomorrow morning for the open. I hope everyone has a fantastic rest of the trading day. Stay safe out there, y'all. Remember, we have Apple earnings this afternoon. And yeah, hope everyone stays safe out there. And I will catch y'all again here tomorrow morning, alright? Later, y'all. Much love.